the two
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Ravi Athale Perspective, the show where we sit down with people who have actually lived the lesson, not just read about them. I'm Ravi Athale, and if this is your first time here, hit subscribe because every single week we bring you a conversation like the one you are about to hear. Everyone talks about success, but very few talk about the pressure and the risk and the decisions that come with it. What does it really takes to survive and thrive for over 2 decades in a high-stake environment? Today, we uncover the truth. Let's dive in. Thank you, Dhananjay, for joining the podcast. Dhananjay, after 20 plus years in your career, what is the one thing people completely misunderstand about your professional?
about the profession that I am in, that you need to be extremely serious and extremely, or at least appear serious all the time.
Okay.
And see, I'm in financial services, so obviously you need to appear predictable and you need to appear stable. But that's a large misunderstanding that people have, that you have to be serious all the time. And that's the notion that people have, that, hey, if you're in financial services, you need to be this serious guy in a suit, which I think is a misunderstanding.
Okay. When everything is on the line, what does pressure really feel like in your world?
Pressure really feels, that's a tricky question to answer, Ravi. So pressure is pressure. It depends upon how you take it. But then when a lot of stuff is on the line and when your cortisol levels have really spiked, I think that's a different kind of ball game, because there's a lot of money that's involved. There could be a lot of relationships that are involved with the client. So when there's a lot on the line, it's difficult to really quantify, but I think it can get crazy. Depends upon how you really want to manage it. It gets crazy. Let me put it that way.
So it gets crazy, and I understand that it's very difficult to quantify, but how would you take it? Or normally, how would you take it in your daily life?
Yeah. In my daily life, I think the way to go about it is a step back, chill a little. It's not really the end of the world unless it is the end of the world, Ravi. But if you keep living with this pressure all the time, I think it's not a healthy way to go about it. You'll be very ineffective in life and definitely at work. So I think taking a step back, being in the present, easier said than done. I agree. But those are some of the things that I would suggest to anybody. I'm trying it myself. It's not easy, but that's my take on it.
So you're saying if you don't take it easy, people might succumb under pressure?
Absolutely. You succumb under pressure. The job is one part of it, but then life, your family needs you. You need yourself. So if you keep taking this pressure constantly, I think something will break. I think as people and as society is evolving and AI coming to the picture and God knows what not happening, there's pressure enough already without sweating the small stuff. So I would say don't sweat the small stuff. And most of it is small stuff.
That's so true. DJ, are you solving problems every day or constantly preventing disasters?
I think it's the way we are structured and the way any financial services firm, once installed, would operate, Ravi, is it should not be both on a daily basis.
Okay.
So the first part of it was, are you solving problems? Yeah, definitely. You do have operational challenges and stuff that comes up on a daily basis. Some of it is big, some of it is small, some of it would require support from other stakeholders. So that's my job. I'm here to be able to help my team navigate I'm here to be able to help my team, put up my hand on behalf of the team and say that, hey, look, this is the support that I need. This is what I need for my guys. And can you help? And then to be able to navigate. The other part of your question was on the disaster part. You have that once in a while, right? You have that once in a while. It's not, touch wood, it's not something that I would expect on a daily basis.
Okay.
Because that would mean something is fundamentally broken. And that's something that you definitely would want to, earlier.
That's right. And DJ, your team is based out of India or it is across locations?
No, I have teams in India. There's Pune and Chennai.
Okay. Nice.
So I work with a lot of stakeholders abroad as well in the regions across various time zones. But the team that works with me directly, that reports into me, is in India in 2 locations.
Okay. And you work in a different time zone?
I don't have a normal schedule like
9 to 5.
most of my colleagues. It's not a 9 to 5, of course. But I try to do a 1:30 to maybe a 10 or 11 in the PM. Because then my EMEA stakeholders, I can speak to the guys in India, I can speak to the guys in the US, and APAC is closing at that point of time, right?
Yes.
It's around 3:30 in Singapore by the time I log in. So if I need to speak to somebody in those regions, I'll have the luxury to be able to do that, basically.
Okay. So DJ, let's rewind. Did you design your career or did life design it for you? How was it?
I wish I could choose one of those binary options, but it's a little bit of both. Some of the stuff, I decided to do it without really having a clear a 5-year plan. I'm not the guy with a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan. For career standpoint, yeah, I know where I want to go. I know that. It's not designed as methodically as people would think it ought to be designed. So if there's X and I want to get to X, I get to X. And I'll enjoy the journey. Of course, you'll have your ups and downs. But towards your question, I didn't design it. Again, and it's not something that's happened exactly by chance or pure luck. Maybe luck plays a factor, of course. I'm not going to dispute that. But it's you have to work towards it, right? So it's a bit of both. But there are times when I've taken a flyer, right?
Put this into perspective. You did your engineering. Was
Yes.
it electrical?
Electronics.
So post your engineering, how was it? Did you plan it that you would go for companies having skills for you or whatever you have studied in engineering, that requirement, or how did you plan?
All right. And I'll be very honest with you and very candid with you on this one. So some of my seniors got placed in Infosys.
Okay.
All right. This is, I'm talking 2002, 2003, 15,000, 20,000 rupees a month, right?
Big time.
At that point of time, he's getting 15,000, 20,000 rupees. And this is 2002, 2003. And for us, it was like, hey, this is sorted, right? This is set. So if somebody is earning 15K, I need to be in that ballpark, is what I thought. Okay. I got an opportunity with Wipro. You will not see it on my LinkedIn. You will not see it on my CV.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, it's not there. So I got an opportunity with Wipro Spectramind. All right. So Spectramind was a outsourcing firm that had been set up. I think they had their office in Spectrum Towers in Powai.
Okay.
And Wipro, and then I think Wipro bought Spectramind and it was still called Wipro Spectramind. Wipro at the end of the day. So I got an opportunity and a process, the American Express process there.
Okay.
Okay. And it was, I went with a friend of mine, a childhood friend of mine, and we walked in and I got the job. He didn't get the job. So by the end, how it was, Ravi. So Ravi, what happened is that I walked in and you had these mass hiring drives and a Wipro or a fee at that. You walk in, if you have your GDPI, everything goes through, you have your skill tests and what, and you walk out with a job offer. If you're lucky, if not, better luck next time, right? And I was waiting and I was about to go. So this HR guy says, hey, stop, wait, sit down. I'll get the letter to you. I said, letter? But then it turns out that there were 5 or 6 people who got the offer at that same time, and so did I. And the offer was around 260, 270 annual, right? Which is like 10, 12K, Ravi. At that point of time,
still okay.
I said, sure. And I said, yes. And I took the job. And for me, honestly, Ravi, was what am I going to do with the money? See, I don't have to give money. घर पे देना है ऐसा कोई ये नहीं था कि घर पे देना है नहीं देना है
EMI ऐसा कुछ चालू नहीं था किसी का
नहीं nothing of that sort.
He is the only guy I need to contribute as well as a part of the family member.
No, I'm an only child. I was, by the grace of God, I didn't have to. So my parents were like, sure, go for it. My dad never understood the concept of shifts though. He used to think that I go in the evening because even training and all that, there was an American shift that came into the picture later.
अच्छा ये कहाँ की बात है?
Mumbai. This is Mumbai. This was in Powai, Hiranandani, a Wipro Spectramind.
Because you were born and raised in Mumbai.
Born and raised in Mumbai. Yes, Ravi. I was. So I've spent a good amount of my time in Bombay Center and I've studied in St. Xavier's in Fort. My mother was a gynecologist, so in a nursing home there, she was a gynecologist.
Nice.
So as a result of that, I was in Bombay Central for a good amount of time. I studied in Xavier. My schooling was there, majority of it, and so on. So coming back to this, see, it was the money, and I got an opportunity. I got the money, and it was the glamour of the office. You have these young men and women dressed very well, and then it was air conditioned and rows upon rows of these desks. Now I don't find it glamorous.
Can I put it in this way? Attractive
Go for
women at that time?
Yeah, that was one part. That I would say that was definitely
Second
there.
would be money.
I put money first rather
Okay.
than the rather
All right.
because I walked in, I was taken in by it was a swanky office for me, and I didn't have a benchmark, Ravi, to actually compare it with.
Okay.
So here you go, you walk in, you're this early 20s guy, you walk in this office, and everybody's dressed up well in formals. And here I am in a polo neck, showing off my biceps. And
That's
I
your
was
first
like,
day?
not the first day, during my interview. I was
During your
not dressed
interview?
in formals. No.
Because you were not ready for the interview. Your friend was ready.
No.
You were not
Yeah,
ready.
I just went with him and
Okay,
I said,
okay.
I'll also give it.
It was a walk-in interview.
It was a
Okay.
walk, but the walk-in also was through
Someone.
I don't remember through a placement firm, or I don't remember the details now, but it was like a walk-in. I would still call it a walk-in only.
Okay.
So I did it. And for me, the money that I got, Reebok के 4,500 के जूते खरीदे. And that time Planet M used to be a thing.
Yes.
With regards to electronics, music, etc., etc. And Powai had this huge Planet M.
Okay.
So I went into Planet M. I got all sorts of CDs. I got Gladiator. I got Any Given Sunday and Armageddon. 3-4 CDs अपनी DVDs
Nice
उठा
movies.
ली.
Nice
Yeah,
movie.
any kid who grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s will know what I'm talking about, right?
Just FYI, I met Russell Crowe just after Gladiator.
Gladiator?
He was huge. I met him and Nicole Kidman at Darling Harbour. So I was having a lunch with someone, Nicole Kidman. They were having lunch, same restaurant, just one table. Maybe there was one table in between. And there were no bodyguards, nothing. They don't have it over there. Different culture.
Okay.
So
That was a good
continue.
anecdote. Thanks for bringing that up. I'm a little jealous of you. Because in 2000, when Gladiator came out, I think it won 8 or 9 Oscars.
But it was
Around those numbers.
amazing.
And he got the best actor as well.
He
Best film, best director, cinematography, actor,
Ever-
the music, bro. And Gladiator 2 now, which just come out last year, they
Seen
should
it.
never have gone there. Don't see it also. Don't, no need. So I was talking about the shoes in Planet M. So that's
Yeah.
what I did. And I got a couple's watch, Titan ka couple's watch for my parents. They were not expecting it. So wo leke chala gaya tha main. So that was what I did with my money. So for me, that was a motivator. So
Exactly.
that my benchmark was my senior is getting this much and he was very good in his studies. I said, sure, I'm not that great, but look, I'm smart. I can talk. So let me at least be in the vicinity. And I got that. So that's where I went with
Okay,
Radha.
I've got a question for you, DJ. You said your mother, she was a practicing gynecologist.
Yes. She
So-
still practices.
So your mother didn't tell you to go for medicine? Because if there happens to be a doctor, this is what happens in the Indian houses. That, okay, I'm a doctor, you should go for medicine or maybe something else. Didn't she tell you that? Or didn't she put pressure on you?
See, in my household, there was no such pressure. My father was rather into the movies. He's worked as a production controller, he's worked as a director, and then he's done advertising as well. And a documentary, he's worked on a documentary in the US and so on and so forth. So he was pretty flexible in that sense. Obviously, there was some amount of pressure from my relatives of all people.
ये है तो इसको भी वैसे ही बनना चाहिए.
ऐसा बन जाए तो अच्छा है थोड़ा बहुत हाँ it was not much. My mother was like try. So look, I tried. जो किसी भी में मार्क्स आते मैथ्स का जो मार्क्स मैथ्स नहीं बायो और पीसीबी अपना पीसीबी मैथ्स और वो सब अलग अलग है.
I remember.
And VJTI तो admission I had to go to VJTI to get that देखो कौन सा कॉलेज मिल रहा है etc etc like 97 98 क्योंकि वो सेंट्रलाइज्ड वो खाली VJTI में होता था मुंबई यूनिवर्सिटी के लिए.
Yeah.
और भी मतलब महाराष्ट्र में जितने होते थे वो VJTI जाके अपने को करना पड़ता था फॉर्म ऑप्शन एक्सेट्रा फिर बोर्ड पे देखते.
Yes.
So you might remember, Ravi, if you've gone down that route, you will at least have heard of it. ये तो आजकल हो गया है centralized, ठीक है?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, I had gone through the exact same steps.
See, there कौन सा open में कौन सा paid है,
Exactly,
paid में कितने
donation,
seats कम है,
Payment
कितना चल रहा है, वो update करते रहते थे.
मैं
board
बताता
पे.
हूँ पेमेंट सेट उस जमाने में 32,000 की थी. 32,000.
थोड़ा बहुत बोला ऐसा नहीं कि बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर. और उस समय में है ना मेरे को डेंटल
Okay.
मगर I found it very, can I say, unsexy. Found it very and I was a little kid. I was a very privileged types of privilege is a word that I use lightly, but I
Someone
was
coming
very
from a
sheltered.
humble background, decent ground.
So I was like मतलब ऐसा बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर नहीं है. So I said dental. यार dental कौन करेगा? I was stupid. No, मैं उल्लू था. Because now I realize that If you do well and if you're a good dentist, there is no limit in terms of your remuneration, your value. But one thing that they didn't do is, while there was no pressure, there was no outright guidance कि भाई ये करेगा तो इतने पैसे मिलेंगे, ये
Okay.
करेगा तो ये हो सकता है, ये करेगा तो ये हो सकता है. So that I think I was given too much credit कि ये तो कर लेगा यार कुछ ना कुछ. तो उसके चल I may have missed out, and I don't blame them. They were extremely busy professionals. But I look back, see, hindsight is 2020 रवि. देखेंगे तो सब क्लियर लगता है. जब आ रहा है तो वो 2020 19
That's
20 हो.
very well.
Yeah, exactly. Towards your question, देख थोड़ा बहुत pressure था, but it was not that do or die or I am sweating bullets kind of deal ever. Touch wood. कभी नहीं.
I totally resonate with you because I come from an army background, so and I had a liberal environment at home while growing up. So it was like, whatever you want to do, just beg, borrow, or steal, but make it happen. But choice is yours. That's the way it is. So on the same line, DJ, what was the moment that changed everything for you?
Or changed everything for me. See, from a personal standpoint, take a step back, and from a very personal standpoint, I saw deaths in my family very up close.
Okay.
This is maybe, it's been 10, 15 years now. I saw people that I loved really go in front of me, and I was there. Okay. In a space of 2, 3 months, I lost two very important people in my life.
Oh, okay.
So
How old
July end,
were you? Or tell me the year.
around the 28, 29 types, Ravi, at that point of time. Until that time, you didn't give a rat's ass. I
Nobody.
did not care about anything because, chalega jayega, kuch nahi. I didn't bother about things. But for me, at that point of time, seeing that people that you, and these were the two big male influences in my life. So one of them is my father and the other is my father-in-law. And in the space of 2, 3 months. So July, my father-in-law passes away. In a few months, my dad passes away. I was in Bombay. When my father-in-law passed away, then I became unwell. I was in a hospital for a week, malaria, and then I had to go to, my father was in Uttarakhand at that point of time when he had a fall.
Okay.
And they tried to move him to Delhi or to Lucknow, but because of this deteriorating condition, he had to be taken to a hospital in Bareilly.
Okay.
And I went in that hospital for a week. I stayed in that hospital for a week. And we couldn't move him because the idea was can we get him to Delhi or to Lucknow? But we couldn't because his condition there was no guarantee. And he passed away in Bareilly. And for me to be able to see both those things in a span of a few months and me also not being well in the interim.
So you became a better person in terms of maturity, in terms of the outlook towards life?
Maturity, yes. Absolutely. You grow up.
You
I
do.
mean, when you see stuff like this, you grow up whether you want it or not, and it happened, right? You grew up. It's not that easy sometimes, as you need to understand. It wasn't, and it's not that easy. And then losing that kind of blind trust, support, suddenly you're the man of the house. Suddenly you're the guy that people are looking up to. You've got to make things happen. And by being this guy who is like, oh, okay, things will happen. Look, I'm quite jovial any which ways. I talk to anybody. I feel I'm an extrovert by nature. But then I realized that this is not how things operate. You need to be focused. You need to be a little bit more of a man, maybe, for lack of a better word, and be serious about stuff. What that really matters. And again, don't sweat the small stuff.
That is so true.
Yeah. So that
So
happened. in
DJ,
life.
it does even, I think these are the events which makes you better, which makes you try to understand things from a different perspective. That is what it is, I think. DJ, what's a mistake you made early on that still defines how you think today?
Okay. I think don't procrastinate.
Okay.
Procrastination, and I still do it, by the way.
Everyone's
I'm not absolving myself of it. I think it's something that I still need to work towards. But there are mistakes that I've made in terms of procrastinating.
Any
And
example?
I'll give a very basic example rather than a life example. You have an idea at work and you feel maybe you're too junior to come up with it and you self-doubt about, okay, can I do this? So I would say it's a mixture of procrastination and self-doubt, wherein you felt, yaar, okay, who am I to come up with this ideation to make things better at work, for example. And later somebody else comes up with the same idea and the same, shall we say, more efficient way of doing things and is a big hit and helps this person career-wise. And I could have definitely done that. I just didn't do it because I thought I'll wait for the right time, procrastinated along with this bug of self-doubt. And it's a mistake.
So when
I
you say
think
it was a procrastination, was it like behavior? It was a behavior at that time?
बाद में कर लेंगे ना, कोई नहीं, क्या भाई, what is the rush? And what is the rush 20 years old? So it's like, what is the rush? See, certain things you can procrastinate. I believe it firmly. That's my take. I'm not saying that this is not a prescription for people to follow, but I feel some things you can just let them like sleeping dogs lie. You should.
Yeah.
It's not, but certain things you better, if you have to do it fast, do it fast. That's what my think is. So it is more of maybe not having seen enough life, maybe being a little immature. I don't want to say being young, because young people also can be have seen enough life to be able to understand that don't procrastinate, ये जल्दी कर लेंगे तो हो जाएगा, and things will work out for you. So that is, I think, some mistake from my part. I should have done better. But I try not to be too hard on myself.
Well,
I didn't know better.
so there's a saying in English, after suffering, man becomes a better person. So I think that is what it is. And if we don't make mistakes, then everyone would be perfect. And nobody's perfect. I'm getting whatever you're talking right now. So DJ, when things got really tough, what stopped you from quitting? Any tough situation? I know you just told me about your father and father-in-law's demise at that time, and you were under tremendous pressure at that time.
Yes.
But anything while working or something in your personal life that at one point you thought, I need to quit?
Yes.
What was that? Can you share if possible?
Sometimes you just feel effort, drop it to the floor and go, right?
Yes.
But then I don't think mama raised a quitter, is what I
Okay.
tell myself. That,
So
yeah, don't quit.
you're a doer, go and get
Yeah,
it. You're not a
don't
quitter.
quit. Take a pause. So my take here is, Ravi, I disconnect myself for a little while. Look, if it's not working out, maybe just take a step back. All right. Let things simmer down a bit. Sometimes it gets too heated at work, for example, or even in your life, with your relationships,
Yeah.
with maybe a girlfriend, wife, husband, boyfriend. It could be anything, even your friends. Yeah,
Anyone,
too much of the same guy, it can, and familiarity breeds contempt.
It
Is
does.
my take.
It does.
And then you're too familiar, right? You're too much. So it becomes a little difficult to get along sometimes. But I think just take a step back, disconnect a little bit, come back at it, you'll have a better understanding. I think we do need to pause at certain points, take a step back, then come back to it. It could be a problem. It could be a relationship issue. It could be work. So there are times when I typed out what I really felt and I've then deleted stuff. And this is some advice that I've given people, that sometimes you get this harsh email and you want to respond, that you really want to make a point and you really want to put people in their place. What happens next? I think we've all been there.
I've done it
Come
many
on,
times.
You've done it many times. See,
I've
there
done it
you
many
go.
times, and
You already said it.
one of my bosses overseas, I don't remember where was it. So he said, because I responded to his email, and he came to me and said, Ravi, let's go for a coffee. I said, let's go, mate. And he said, I've just read your email. The language is good, but the intention is not. He said, Ravi, if you want to do something like this, take a pause. And that is what you said, DJ. Take a pause, take it easy. Just instead of going forward, go backwards, think about it. And if you want to respond to the same thing, do it tomorrow or do it after 5-6 hours.
Absolutely.
The email would sound very different and look very different if you do that. I told him, point taken. His name was Matthew, and we used to call him Matt. And since then, I have never ever responded to any email just like that without even thinking for a minute. I'll think and then respond. So I know what you're talking about.
Perfect. I would just echo whatever you said, whatever Matt told you, I think is what I try to do. There are still times when you just get up and just get it out of the door, and I don't care what the other person thinks. But then you should care what the other person thinks. If you're working with this person, I think you should care. This is a trait that is lost on many people. And I'm saying this globally, all right? I'm not saying just us here. It's a trait that is lost. And I think it's a little bit of immaturity and a little bit of insensitivity and lack of empathy, maybe, that you just don't have that in you. Or you're not trying to inculcate that. And I think that is the right step to take towards maturing as a person and having a little bit of empathy with people that you're working with or people that you're interacting with. And I'll be very honest, Ravi. I think in our context, in an Indian context, I think we have so many of us that we don't have empathy. We don't want to wait for anything. We want to just, example, holding the door open for somebody else. How does it work? Do you have the empathy? No. 1 second, somebody stops longer at a signal, whether the signal is green, red, no clue. As a society, we have lost it. Where is the empathy? Because there are so many of us. Yeah, big time. We are a low trust society. And on top of that, we don't have empathy also. So I'm not bashing anybody, but this is exactly how it is in India. And I say that almost everywhere. And it's an observation. And I stand by it. This is an observation, man. So coming back to it, I think have a little bit of respect. You may challenge it respectfully and have some empathy. That's all.
TJ, if you had to explain your work to a 15-year-old,
sure,
how would you describe it?
Okay, and that's an interesting one, Ravi. So the way I would say it is that within the financial services ecosystem, you have trade management. And when I say trade management, you have transactions that happen on a daily basis between people, between institutions, and that are governed by an exchange, usually, because the exchange stands in the middle, is responsible for ensuring that settlement happens, is responsible for ensuring that transactions are seamless. Now, in that life cycle of a trade, I am responsible for everything that happens in the middle office space. So essentially, when a trade is done, the post-trade execution, the steps that are required to make sure that your trade is good, that it settles in time, that the cash goes out of the door, for example, all the post-trade execution steps where I come in and my teams come into the picture. So that is essentially what I do. And I'm part of that life cycle of a trade, so to speak. That is how I would put it. Obviously, I can go on more.
And TJ, what's the kind of problem that can ruin your entire day?
There are two things that can ruin your day. It could be a people issue, like a significant people issue that can definitely take a toll, because I have had challenges in the past without getting into too many specifics. I reached a point because it was it was a genuine issue, people issue. And I was in a place wherein I could do only so much and I couldn't go beyond. Those kind of deals can take a toll. And then if you have a risk event with a hard dollar loss attached to it, which is significant, for example, absolutely ruin your month, not just your day, because then there's a lot of questions and for all the right reasons, right? So if you have an operational risk event, which results in let's say, hypothetically, a hard dollar loss, or a reputational, even if it's not a hard dollar loss, something which is reputational, it puts a scanner on everything that you're doing. And there are a lot of stakeholders that you'll have to answer to be able to explain, and a lot of forums that you will have to go to, your bosses also will have to go to. And I need to support them with data, with information, with nuances as to what went wrong. Because if everything goes right, that is by design, Ravi. So nobody will ask you anything. But if something goes wrong, and it's a risk event, all eyes are on it, right?
I've been
So
there.
that can ruin your day. Those
I've
two
been
things,
there,
I think.
yeah, and I totally resonate what you're talking about. So it's a very thankless job. When everything goes good, nobody gives a rat's ass.
Design, man, you're supposed to do that.
You're supposed to, that's part of your roles and responsibility. The moment things go not as per plan, you are the one who is responsible.
Yeah, and the way I look at it, Ravi, is we are paid to do it. And that is my job at the end of the day. Yeah, sure. I just don't want too much of it. Because then that means that something fundamentally that my guys are doing or what I am doing, or systemically there is a flaw. I'm there for that. I touch wood, I hope not for too much of it.
I hope
That's
so
all.
too. TJ, happening behind the scene that people never realize in your profession. Let me give you a different perspective. Let's say your profession, because you're handling a big operational team, and people think, oh, it's a middle office operational team, everything goes well, they are not tech savvy, they don't have to think about this and that, it's only the technical team do everything for them. But what is there one thing that people really don't realize, how tough, how difficult things could be if you guys don't operate?
Sure. So I think this also applies to a lot of operations teams who are not necessarily, while the line between technology and operations is getting blurred as we go on.
It's a very thin line.
It's going to get even further diluted, and there'll be a lot more crossover. But there is a certain amount of product knowledge and process nuances, client nuances that you need to be aware of. There is a great amount of time sensitivity also attached to it because we work in live markets. So these 2 or 3 things that I'm talking about, the complexity for some products is very straightforward. It's not equities, for example, or bonds that you're dealing with, or normal exchange traded stuff. That's pretty much streamlined. There are time sensitivities around that as well. Then you get into more complex products like, let's say, derivatives. So there are quite a few over-the-counter or OTC, which are not necessarily on exchanges. So these kind of products, you need your teams and you also, to a certain extent, to have some fair understanding of how the product behaves, of how this swap is going to behave, of what are the client requirements, and so on and so forth. So it is not easy in varying degrees of difficulty, depending upon where you are placed. If you are in settlements, for example, and I have teams that effect settlement, something goes wrong. There is time sensitivity. You are talking about large deals that are falling onto the ground, and your guys and you are responsible for it to not reach the custodian, for example, not affect settlement. Something went wrong. Lot of time sensitivity, lot of chasing, lot of calling. That is also something that's there. Lot of emails. Hey, match us on this trade. We are drawing close to deadlines. And again, when you're working in a global environment, you have different cutoffs for different things, depending upon where the transaction is happening. So those are some of the, I'm trying to put it in slightly layman terms so that everybody understands and has a better appreciation of this, that this is not as easy as it may look. And then probably there's certain amount of monotony as well. You come in, you're doing the same kind of thing every day. It's important, but you're doing the same kind of thing, transaction processing, trade, cash, trade, cash, trade, cash. It hits you. Volumes may be high. While a lot of it's supposed to be STP, a lot of it does not go STP. And that's why we are there. Otherwise, we would be doing something else in life, right? So because of that, there is a lot of effort that even operations has to do from an automation perspective. Everything is not a Jira on the IT board that IT is going to solve for. There are certain things that even operations has to step up to be able to collaborate, no code to be able to take care of the low hanging fruit themselves. And that is also an element that is inserted, or shall we say hard coded into our goals that people may not know. They'll say finance. Sure, it's finance, but you have a good cohort who's also upskilling themselves on these tools or also upskilling themselves with regards to artificial intelligence. In our firm, there is a huge push to get people conversant with the concepts of artificial intelligence, use artificial intelligence in everyday life. And a lot of people are doing that. I am doing that on our platforms. So that is something I don't think many people are outside.
Even the insiders, those who are not into operational or doesn't understand what operation is all
May
about,
not
they
understand.
may not understand what you guys are into.
So it is our job to make them understand, basically.
If you don't understand, but you need to just let them know that this is what it
Yeah,
is.
we need to
And
let
yeah, it is what it is. As simple as that.
को लगता है रवि कि मेरा काम सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है, मेरे बगैर कंपनी चलेगी नहीं.
बिल्कुल
So,
बिल्कुल हर को लगता
but
है कि
exactly,
I'm
there
the
is one.
one.
But the point is, the show will go on, buddy.
Of course.
Why? Show will impact for sure, depending upon where you are in this ecosystem, value chain, whatever. Impact, yeah, sure.
Let
Show will
me
go on.
give you a cricket's example.
Sure.
Earlier, it was Sunil Gavaskar. People thought Sunil Gavaskar is going, there won't be anyone else. Sunny days. Then came along Sachin Tendulkar. After Sachin, people said, oh, it's the end of everything. Then it was Virat Kohli, and then it was Rohit Sharma. And now, I'm just talking about Indian cricketers. I'm not trying to ignore the foreigners, but in terms of Indian context, I would say after Rohit and Virat, now we have so many youngsters. They are ready to take the baton from Rohit and Virat. Everyone thinks I'm the only one, and the company would fall. It would not run if I'm not there. And I'm not talking about the designation. I'm talking about everyone. When I was a team lead, when I become a manager, senior manager, and so on, I think it's the same thing with you and associate director, and so on. And each and every designation, most of the people felt the same thing. If I don't do this, people will not work. And because there's a big dependency, this big dependency is just for the namesake, it's in the head. The moment you're out of the company, and then you realize, oh, there are not 100, there are 1,000 to replace me.
Sure, you're unique and special. Let me put it this way.
We have been in this industry for more than 20 years.
Exactly. You're special, you're unique. Sure. But at the same time, we must have this appreciation of the fact that how replaceable are you? Sure. Take a look, think about
Someone
it.
told me, irrespective of your designation, you're just an employee ID on an Excel sheet.
Absolutely. Just somebody goes there, junior associate goes there and just strikes you through. Also, it's the way it is without getting overtly dramatic about it. This is what it is. And we appreciate and understand it. That's all.
What decisions in your role carry the highest repercussions? कि ये एक decision का consequences बहुत अलग हो सकता है, which may have high impact.
All right. See, high impact, varying degrees, negative impact, yeah, varying degrees of impact, of course, is there. One, not escalating fast enough.
Okay.
I feel, and I'm also, I think I can always do better on this. So if there is an issue and you feel that this is an issue which if you are not able to address, and there are times when you individually or as even your immediate team may not be able to address this issue, or this is something which is will absolutely you will lose a handle on. And mostly this is process related. In my experience, it is usually a process related item wherein you thought that you had a handle on it, but it's going to get out of hand. All right. And it could lead to significant reputational damage, or it could lead to risk events if you're not escalating this hard enough. All right. And making it other people's problem also, because then you've reached out to risk, you've reached out to controls, you've reached out to your stakeholders in the regions, you've reached out to your boss and said that, listen, guys, gents, ladies, this is going to be a significant problem. And you're not pressing that alarm button or that red button hard enough and making the right type of noise around this.
And reaching out to the right stakeholders.
Correct. Reaching out to the right stakeholders.
Exactly.
And you're beating that drum hard enough. In my estimation, not doing that is not just harmful. It is something that can end a lot of people's. Yes.
DJ, I've done that many times. And did anyone tell you that it's the same thing? Something goes wrong, you just try to press the panic button. Our intention is to let the right people know at the right time so that the right could be taken at the right time. They don't understand. So, anyone ever told you that you always press the panic button?
I do it judiciously. The way I look at it is, if you've come to a certain level within your firm, for example, or within the org, you need to understand when to press it. Because if you cry wolf too often and the wolf really comes, nobody's coming to save you with a gun.
That's right.
So you need to be judicious about it. Have I been told that I press it too often? No, because I feel that I'm quite judicious about it and I press it only, or I make that break the emergency glass. You have this break glass
Hammer.
in case of emergency. You have that little hammer. So I have used it, but very judiciously. At the same time, have I been told that this is a non-issue? Yes, by people.
There's two parties. I'm talking about when I was told long time ago. Okay. The day I stopped doing it, things went out of control. And the next question was, Ravi, why didn't you raise it? Why didn't you tell us? So both ways, they're going to
The house always wins, Ravi.
they want to make you
The house
scapegoat.
always wins.
This way or that way, they want to make
The
someone
house
scapegoat.
always wins. Come on.
That's right.
So you go to a casino, you win a few jackpots, and the oxygenated air is making you feel lightheaded and really positive. It's the house making sure that you come back and you put more money and you lose.
That's right. I totally agree what you're talking about.
Yeah, so the house always wins, but you need to understand that you're part of this ecosystem or the system, whatever you want to call it. You need to make sure that you're making the right noise when it's required. And you, if you're at a certain level, the idea is that you need to know when to cry wolf and when to say uncle.
DJ,
So
there's in the corporate world, especially in India, a long time ago, someone told me, Ravi, there's something called as ego massaging.
yes,
As long as you do that, you're very safe. So there could be different terms to ego massaging, but this is an appropriate term which I'm using right now. As long as you do that, you're very safe. The moment you stop doing that, you become a scapegoat. I think it depends from person to person, different where you're working. I never had this problem when I was working overseas because I was there for more than 15 years. But again, it is what it is.
people anywhere, Ravi, is what my take is. People are people anywhere. It could be in Australia or the US or
Anywhere.
Canada or Seychelles or Alibag or wherever. So people are people. But then I think folks who do just that all the time, I think they get exposed.
That's right. So moving on, in high stakes moments, do you trust your instincts or process?
Gut.
Gut feeling? Okay.
Always gut. And if you overanalyze the data, you will never do things. But if you have a certain amount of experience and your gut says X, I will go with X all the time.
Your gut feeling has ever gone wrong?
Yes.
It does.
It has. See, in personal decisions, also it has. But then it was, if I look back at it, was I really doing right by what my instinct was telling me? Probably not, but it has gone wrong at times as well.
There are two parts of the coin. If my gut feeling is I need to do X, Y, Z, and then I do A, B, C, I would regret why I didn't do X, Y, Z in the first place. Now, the second part is after everything is done and dusted, then someone realizes XYZ was not a good idea. I could have gone for ABC at that time, but my gut feeling was XYZ. So if XYZ works, you're a winner. But if it doesn't, then you're a loser. So it's not going to work every time for you. And that is what gut feeling is all about.
Exactly. But then there have been more times, Ravi, wherein I have looked back and thought I should have trusted my gut towards what you are saying, towards what the analogy that you gave. There have been more times wherein I should have trusted my gut and I should have questioned more, or maybe I should have probed more, or maybe I should not have taken things at face value, wherein I just to keep the peace, maybe, or just to take the path of least resistance, I did not do it. And I have regretted that. So my instinct may have been wrong at times, but then it has been correct more than it's been wrong. So that's what I feel, that you should go with what you feel is right in that, even if it's high stakes.
Okay. And what's harder, making a fast decision or the right one?
Fast or right? What is harder? Right. Fast you can do. Fast, you tell somebody right now, pick, but you have 10 seconds to do it. Fast decision you will make. Whether it's the right decision, again, hindsight is 2020, but with the information or the circumstances that you're operating in at that point of time, take a look at morality, Ravi. Morality has changed over decades or over centuries. So being barbaric was the norm. Couple of 100 years back, 200, 300, 400 years back.
Okay, you're
We
talking
would
about
look back. not Roman era, let's go back to Genghis Khan.
Okay.
Genghis
Yeah.
Khan, let's go back maybe 980, 880. You look at Genghis Khan, and Genghis Khan has been this barbaric conqueror who has the largest contiguous land empire in the history of humanity and has killed so many people that he brought the temperature of the world down. And he was so prolific that he changed the DNA constitution of a huge swath of the world's population, reducing the temperature, doing these things. He was more prolific, but was he not the norm? Were other rulers less barbaric? Was bloodshed, the way the world operated, different? No. He was over and above. So, if you look at it with today's morality and our constructs of how people should behave right now, my God, barbarian. Sure, he was barbaric for that time as well, but was he too different from the norm? No. So now we will be judged 100 years later with the morality of that time. Going back at it, I think hindsight, you will look back at things a few 100 years back and say that, Arey yaar, what were you doing or what were you thinking? But I am operating with my set of the circumstances at this point of time. And if I may not always be right, but difficult, I think, is to get the right decision fast. I think you can do it.
Okay. And DJ, have you ever faced a moment where one call could change everything for you? It could be personal or it could be professional.
Yes.
What was that?
I have. Personal, it's going to be funny.
Yeah, go on.
But calling up this girl that I really like and proposing over the phone because I couldn't beat her. And those were the days, Ravi, when you remembered phone numbers, right?
You're referring to your wife? Then it's good because I think once this goes live, she's going to say it.
Yeah, she will see it. And I told her over the phone, and I was not sure. I didn't quote her. I barely knew her. I barely knew this girl, this lady. We were never in the same during the graduation and all that. वो अलग college जाने वाले. So I thought I should make my move now, or at least propose.
Try करके देखते हैं.
Try करने का भी नहीं था. मेरे को था कि ये हाँ बोलनी चाहिए. तो because I don't want to lose. I don't want to be the guy who had to hear a no and things like that. So I asked her. And I knew she kind of, maybe she liked me. मुझे ऐसा लगता था. But you never know till you know, right, Ravi? So at that point of time, and she did not reciprocate she was ready to meet me and all, but I think she wanted to understand. So that for me was a kind of a important thing, which has led to a lot of things in life over a period of time. See, not all things are going to be choice. Right? Oh, अच्छा भी है, पूरा सब कुछ है. But that is one of the instances. There is one more that's career related, wherein I got a call, wherein this gentleman called me for a reference check for somebody. And I had worked with this person in Tech Mahindra, and he says that DJ, for this XYZ person, worked with you. So how is she for a team lead position and all that? I said, she's theek. So it was like, yeah, DJ, theek hai, okay, nahi chahiye. Anybody else that you can recommend? And at that point of time, I said, why not me? I can take a look at it. So he was incredulous and he was like, are you sure, DJ? This is finance. This is something very different. I said, look, I can learn. And you are telling me that you need somebody who has people management experience. I do. So tell me. And things happened after that. So there are a couple of instances that come to mind like this.
So how do you stay calm when everything around you is not? Could be professional, could be personal. So when everything is chaotic, everything is more about pressure, where you see there is nothing changing around you, how do you stay calm?
If I do not reflect a certain amount of being in control or being calm and show abject panic when it really matters, I think my team takes cues. And any leader, it's not for just me.
Because whatever you are, it's a reflection on your team.
So if I do not exude a certain amount of calm and that we'll manage, we'll take care of it, we will navigate.
हो जाएगा.
We'll figure it out. I know it's not good. It's not great. It is suboptimal. However, we'll manage. And then sometimes you have to call a spade that, yeah, it is F, it is F. Right? However, now that we are beyond that, understanding that these things are, one suggestion that I always have to people is, if it is really bad, do not sugarcoat it to minimize how bad it really is. Do not minimize the fact that this is really F at this point of time, man. And if it is, sure, okay, it is. Now move beyond that. Once we agree that this is a problem, then you move beyond it and then you try to take steps to be able to remediate, correct. You don't agree that something is wrong. What is there to fix? So calm.
It's a long time ago. When I started my boxing, boxing as a passion. It was not a passion at that time though. Someone told me, Ravi, if you live in the world of denial, that because you do hardcore workout, heavy weights, and you could be a good boxer, you live in a world of denial. You need to accept that it's an art. You need to learn it. If you live in that world, that मैं तो भैया इतना स्कॉच मार सकता हूँ, इतना डेडलिफ्ट कर सकता हूँ, बॉक्सिंग क्या है? Any Tom, Dick, Harry on this world would come and kick you on your ass.
Absolutely.
So I'm just giving you a context that people live in that world of denial. As long as you're denying and don't accept things, you would never improve.
Denial is comfortable, no, Ravi?
हाँ, वो तो है ना.
बहुत कंफर्टेबल है,
बहुत
तो
comfortable.
वही करते हैं लोग, वही होता है. एंड देन व्हाइल डीप डाउन यू नो देयर आर चैलेंजेस, राइट, देयर आर इश्यूज, बट डिनाइल में रहोगे तुम तो कंफर्टेबल रहता है. रोजमर्रा इज आल्सो इजी टू बी एबल टू मैनेज. कमिंग बैक टू द line of questioning that we were actually exploring, that if you don't exude calm and if you are not, while you may be shit scared, डर सबको लगता है यार, anybody can get scared and anybody can panic, but I think to be able to draw the line and exude that confidence in public, at least say the right things, make sure people know that you're around and you're dependable, is absolutely important. Otherwise, you're part of that herd which now is absolutely in chaos. And then who are you looking up to? Who is helping you along? It's your responsibility to make sure that you are there, you are managing things. And there are times when I have been really at loss, but with the team, I've thankfully been able to manage, have that semblance of calmness that नहीं, he's okay, हो जाएगा, हम कर लेंगे.
Have you ever shown aggression in your personal life? Even if you don't want to, but you have to.
Gussa, yes. Anger, yes, I have. But it's something that I would term, see, this is slightly tricky because I am quite pushy when it comes to work. I do need things done in a certain way, but there is a great amount of autonomy that I'll give people. I'm not micromanaging at all, right? Direction hai, this is the end goal. What are the tools that you need to succeed? What are the resources that you need to succeed? Sure, I'll make sure that as much as I can, with the limitations that we may or may not have, ensure that you get what you need to be able to make things happen. Aggression at work is when I have been harsh at times with folks. I have very close colleagues of mine who have given me feedback. This is quite some time back, who have given me feedback that DJ, you can't, this is for everybody's benefit, including yours, that you can't be this harsh with people sometimes. While the language isn't necessarily harsh, okay, but the meaning you can get, the underlying meaning, you can absolutely get that, dude, this guy is seriously pissed off at you. So while the words may not be fighting words or pugilistic words, to take a term from your boxing career, they're not fighting words or pugilistic words, but the underlying meaning has been absolutely crystal clear. That, dude, you are in deep trouble. So that I have channeled that way.
I'm talking about in your context, but the way you were sounding to that person or the team, it was very aggressive.
It was direct, that person. And that kind of also, people are not stupid. They know that, dude, if somebody senior is pissed or somebody is angry at you, I've made sure that this person knows that I'm not necessarily enthused. But there is a way to do it, is what I feel, Ravi. It has to be the right way. Was I always the right guy? The guy who did it right? No. But point out and tell me who gets it right always. So I take succor in that.
Okay.
And I go with that thought.
So in your industry or work, DJ, how do you stay relevant when everything around you keep changing?
Keep changing. First, understand, जैसे बोलते हैं ना, रुख कहाँ जा रहा है रुख? Where is it going? And for you to be able to understand where it is going, you need to be keyed in. You need to understand things that are happening on a daily basis. You can't be, see, the best way to become irrelevant is you think it all. सब आता है, क्या सिखाएगा कोई?
Well, इस level
कौन सिखाएगा? But I still feel I've not reached that level where I can stop learning. And I'm being this is not me being humble or anything. This is me being very clinical and very straight about it. And be a little humble. And then you have these people who are know-it-alls. And I'll tell you, people who claim to be know-it-alls have some insecurity that they are trying to hide by being know-it-alls. And that's being very candid. And please publish this the way it is. What I feel that if you are a know-it-all, you are insecure about something in your life. कि भाई मैं ये insecurity छुपाता हूँ क्यों, मुझे सब पता है यार, तू क्या बात कर रहा है? And people who cut you down and who always in whatever you are saying, मेरा क्या? Even more people that you should keep at arm's length. This could be family, friends, whoever. So I'll give you a personal example. I was relating this to somebody who is still also a very good friend. कि अच्छा मैं ये कर रहा हूँ, मैं इस कॉलेज के क्वालिटी इंप्रूवमेंट बोर्ड पे. तो उसने पूरा ब्रश आउट कर दिया उसको समझाई. फिर मैंने वापस ऐसे ही कुछ कन्वर्सेशन, अच्छा तो एडमिशन करवा. मैंने बोला सोच यहीं पे खत्म हो जाती है और कहीं जगह पे नहीं होती है. ठीक है, तुम्हारा झोल जुगाड़ एक लेवल तक ही चलेगा. एक लेवल तक कहीं कहीं पे नहीं चलता है, वो तुमको भी अंडरस्टैंड करना है कि नहीं चलता है. That is my take on it. So relevance is to thoda humble. If you have humility in you, that you don't know everything. Humility is also, Ravi, you see a 200 pound का डंबल और तू बोलेगा अरे ये क्या है, ये तो मैं उठाता हूँ. ठीक. कुछ तरीके होते हैं उठाने के, बहुत सारी चीजें चाहिए उठाने के लिए. तो वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग, अदरवाइज एंड देन यू चेंज. You
I
don't
remember
understand, you
one
stay
thing.
relevant by
I remember
absorbing things.
on the similar note, I just realized one thing. Again, I'm referring to cricket here, and not because of IPL. I just realized young cricketers, they think very highly of themselves. कि मैं ये हूँ. We have ever heard Sachin Tendulkar saying that I'm the god of cricket. So he has never ever said that anywhere, that I'm the best. Maybe he knows he's the best, but there is someone who could do something better than him. Not everything, but something. That humility that we are talking about, that empathy needs to be there, that I may be the best, but not in everything.
Absolutely.
So that is what I think everything is all about. So, DJ, how do you turn chaos into structure?
Just to close the loop on that one before I get into this question, Ravi, see, having pride in who you are and what you do is a different thing, and then being arrogant about it. The example that you give for Sachin Tendulkar, I'm sure he has pride in being this very proficient batsman when he was on top of the world, right? But at the same time, that having pride in what you are and being arrogant about it and being this cocky guy about it, they're two different things.
I think whatever you're saying is making so much sense, right? Don't be cocky.
Don't be cocky. So if you remember during the 2000s when Buckner was the umpire,
Yeah, Steve Buckner.
there are a lot of matches, Buckner is the umpire, and then
2 or 3 dismissals of Sachin Tendulkar in Australia live, where he was not out and he was given out. I'm
he was
talking
given
about
out.
22,000 tour of Australia. I think that was the time when he gave all the dismissals of Sachin Tendulkar's wrong, but he was the umpire and nobody said anything to him at that time. EJ, what does real leadership looks like when things go wrong?
Real leadership when things go wrong. One, being there for your people. If things are going wrong, I mean owning it as well, taking accountability. You fix it. That is not real leadership, and that's transactional leadership. That when things are good, it's your credit, and when things go bad, it's somebody else's problem. That is very transactional, and that is very, I think, just not the right way to do it. So for me, leadership is when you are there with your folks in good times and bad, and taking accountability when things are especially not right. Taking accountability, putting your hand up and saying that, hey, don't worry, it's my problem as well. It's not just for you to solution. That is real leadership.
That's right, because you need to be there for your team and vice versa.
Absolutely. You can't control that, whether your team decides to stick with you or not, but you can control what you want to.
Yeah, how do you build a team that doesn't break under pressure?
One, give them autonomy, give them flexibility. But at the same time, they should know that you're around. Now, see, that is a very tricky question. People in varying degrees will buckle under pressure.
They will.
All right. Anybody can buckle under pressure. Consider if it's for some, a small thing may lead to a lot of pressure, but for some it might be the magnitude of pressure may be different. But you ensure that they have the right support. You ensure that they know you're around and that you have their back. All right. If you have somebody who's providing them air cover while they are getting into a firefight, right? Somebody's giving them air cover. That I think is how you build teams. Obviously, over a period of time, you understand who is what. People have shortcomings. I have shortcomings. Everybody has shortcomings.
We all do.
Anyone who says that I am again Nirvana, then Baba तू जाके पहाड़ों में बैठ और तू वो कर. ठीक है ना, यहाँ पे मत हमको मत बता.
योगा से ही होगा. अब तो योगा से ही होगा.
So one, making sure that you have their back, making sure that the right messaging is going out and the right amount of, if somebody comes to you with a problem, again, try to help. So as long as that there's somebody to listen to them, somebody to provide air cover and to give them that cushion if things were to go wrong, is how you have a team that will be able to deal with pressure. Otherwise, everything else is all GAN. Oh, there might be somebody who is great at managing pressure and who can absorb a great deal of pressure. But that does not mean that person is not facing pressure. Otherwise, it's all gyan. Oh, under pressure, diamonds are formed and all that. Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
लोहे को आग में ही पिघला के दूसरा आकार दिया.
It is, to a great extent, it is true that when you face pressure, you harden what to do in situations of pressure. But at the same time, there is a smelting point wherein then it turns into liquid. So you must be cognizant of that as well. So that's my take. But I've honestly never thought of, it has happened in the process, but never thought of building a team that can absorb a great deal of pressure and so on and so forth. So it's part of the process for me. It's not the be all end all piece wherein you absorb pressure. Just build a team that takes that pressure. That's not been one of my criteria. honestly.
And what trait you absolutely cannot tolerate in a team?
Chaploosi. You feeding in information to your manager or to your bosses or for whatever reasons is okay. I understand that. But then chaploosi, what happened over a drink table and you fed that information back to our boss. And it has happened with me when I
Yeah,
was junior.
same here.
Happened with me. हम तो in confidence इस बंदे को बोला था हम दोनों मेरे मेरे और मेरे दोस्त ने. And I can take the name of the person because I don't care about him, but I don't want to. It will be very churlish on my part and very immature on my part to do it. I still hate him because I think people never change.
उसका ना दूसरा
If
word-
he was able
उसका
to do it
दूसरा
at
word भी है.
25, he will do it at 45.
What backstabbing.
Backstabbing. Unnecessarily जाके so that he could vie for a promotion, उसने जाके बोला. And he thinks he's the cat's whiskers.
Okay.
Yeah, he thinks he's the cat's whiskers because I'm sure he's the same person, but unacceptable for me. So that I feel that may be asking too much from people because people are people, right? So that for me is unacceptable. I think इधर की उधर करना and backstabbing. For me, I think it is counterproductive in a team and should not be encouraged at all.
And how do you deal with people who don't meet your expectations?
My approach is usually very coaching focused approach, Ravi. I will rarely give prescriptions. डॉक्टर ने बोला जैसे डॉक्टर देता है ना प्रिस्क्रिप्शन एक खाने के बाद एक खाने के पहले और ये तुम ठीक हो जाओगे 3 दिन में. So that prescription I would rarely give unless things are really dire. That time is of the essence and I cannot go the coaching route. Otherwise, I would rather coach a person to be able to get it out of him or her as to what are the corrective measures? Can we come to a common ground as to where we both agree that this is a problem? And what is the approach that we should take to be able to remediate or to be able to resolve this? And what is how many days can we do it in? How many weeks do you need? What support do you need? What resources do you need to be able to rectify or remediate or to be able to enhance your performance? So my approach has always been very coaching. Unless, see, I know some people for a good amount of time that I can actually go to them and say that, yaar, aise kar raha hai. And they know the steps that they need to follow or the things that they need to do. But if it's a pure performance related thing, I would rather take a coaching approach. I would rather try to give this person, depending upon the circumstances, of course, as much space to be able to improve because people can change. Can you teach an old dog new tricks? I don't know.
Even I don't know.
No, I don't know. But we are not necessarily very young dogs either.
Yes.
But not very old dogs either. But I think people should be given some benefit of the doubt unless they've proven to be irredeemable.
I like this benefit of doubt. I think that should be there.
To get to a point wherein I understand that for a steady state operation, for you to be able to look at it very optically and say that this is now steady state, some will perform high, some will perform low. You'll have a lot of people in the middle. And to make sure that you're pushing more people into that upper 10%, 20% quartile of your high performers, you need to have this coaching approach. Some people are born जैसे ब्रॉक लेसनर आया wrestling में once in a lifetime talent in less than he was immediately after WrestleMania, the next SummerSlam, he's already champion. That's a once in a lifetime athlete, entertainer, whatever you want to call it, right? And with the pedigree at NCAA champion and so on and so forth. So I'm using that as an example. That's a once in a lifetime talent. Kurt Angle आया in the late 90s, 99 में debut.
Yeah.
He is somebody who is a Atlanta Olympics में gold medal winner on a broken neck. So those are once in a lifetime talents. But then for others to actually get there, it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of perseverance. So give them that support. I have seen low performers who become high performers, but then it takes time and faith.
I've seen otherwise as well. The high performance falling down as well. See, it's about the experience, exposure, and awareness. If it is not there, things are not going to work for anyone.
Exactly.
DJ, what's one common mistake people making again and again?
Okay. So if somebody look at people's actions, not their words.
Because action speaks louder than words?
Absolutely. If somebody is saying, if it looks like a duck, I always use this analogy. If it looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, तो वो बतख ही है. वो तेरे को आके बोल रहा है, no, I am a dog. And you are convinced that it is a dog because that thing is telling you it's a dog. Who is stupid in this? कौन उल्लू बन रहा है? So somebody keeps saying कि नहीं हम तो बहुत ऐसे हैं, but तुम वैसी चीजें कर रहे हो, तो तुम वैसे हो, ऐसे नहीं हो.
ऐसे नहीं हो.
And that is one common mistake that I see people getting beguiled and falling for cons and somebody's charisma कि वो बोल रहा है नहीं नहीं मैं तो बहुत सीधा साधा हूँ but है तो बड़ा टेढ़ा यार. काम तो तेरे और जो हरकतें तेरी बड़ी टेढ़ी है. तो तू कौन है? तू तो टेढ़ा ही है ना. But people get fooled, get the wool pulled over their eyes by So many people, so many different kinds of snake oil salesmen. दुनिया बन रही है उल्लू आजकल तो. Is that look at people's actions, not at people's words, and but people fall for words rather than even looking at the actions. Because उसमें thought चाहता है ना, थोड़ा thought process कष्ट देना पड़ता है सोचने. लोगों को थोड़ी ना सोचना है. तुम बताओ, मैं बताता हूँ ना क्या सोचना है. आप वैसा सोचो. मेरा मत देखो. तो एक फिल कॉलिंस का जेनेसिस करके ग्रुप था रवि 1990s में. जेनेसिस का. सो फिल कॉलिंस इज द गाय हु sang अनदर डे इन पैराडाइज फॉर एग्जांपल. फिल कॉलिंस का एक गाना, ये जेनेसिस का एक गाना था ग्रुप का, उसका नाम है जीसस ही नोज मी.
Okay.
So the song goes, some of the words go as such, and I may be slightly off on the verbiage,
That's fine.
on the words. So Jesus, he knows me, and he knows I am right. For he's been telling me that it's gonna be all right. And along the way, उस गाने में एक dialogue है, do as I say, don't do as I do.
Okay, makes sense.
Do as I say, but don't do as I do. तो ये है कि जो मैं बता रहा हूँ ना यार, मैं सोच रहा हूँ तुम्हारे लिए. I will think for you. You don't have to think. Just don't look at my actions. Don't do what I do. What I'm saying.
What's your favorite rock band?
Rock band, Guns N' Roses.
Man, really?
GNR followed by Metallica, bro.
And I'm a hardcore Axl Rose
Yeah.
and Slash fan.
I'm just unpacking this in front.
Yeah.
And I got this for myself because वो H&M.
Oh man, Guns N' Roses. We're twin brother from another mother.
I just unpacked this. Guns N' Roses tour 85 का है मेरे ख्याल से.
Man.
Tour dates, 87 tour dates. I just got this right now. My wife always invades my personal space by going through my packages.
I'm so envy of you right now.
So GNR, obviously all-time favorite, followed by Metallica. Some of their songs really resonate.
AC/DC?
Metallica is great. AC/DC, Highway to Hell, AC/DC is also there. If I have to rank, it has to be GNR for me and then Metallica. See, even punk rock, I even like some Shampoo. पुराने वो जो, while everybody's got good numbers, GNR is what rock and roll is. Sweet child of mine. Paradise City. Come down to Paradise City where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. It's on those numbers. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Hey, 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 hey. GNR was really big in 92, 93 when obviously 32 came out. It's around the same time.
So in awe of these guys, man. Slash was something. Are we becoming careless because things are too easy?
Too easy in the sense information is available on the fingertips.
Yeah,
you have
AI,
to assist you with
information, anything.
Information glut. I think we are becoming more stupid.
Lazy and stupid?
Lazy, yes. Stupid also. Not stupid is not, it's taken as a derogatory term, but I'm just looking at it holistically in terms of how much utilization are you doing? How creative are you really? Now people will say, नहीं, prompt engineer तो है ना, prompt करोगे तो सब आएगा. Prompting सीखो, prompting. It's not the be all end all. That is absolutely a mandate that is required. I'm not belittling it by a long stretch. However, how many of us are actively email तक का जवाब देने के लिए लोग AI use कर रहे हैं?
Co-pilot है ना?
Co-pilot है, लोग कुछ और भी करते हैं. तुम data sick. I understand it's there to help you. However, where is your own thought process really doing the talking? And I feel it will come to a point where one machine is talking to another machine. Okay.
That's right.
I think holistically, we are just getting into the place where it is a comfort over everything. Like in the old Roman times, provide the Janta cheap entertainment and food. Janta kuch nahi karegi. Will never revolt against you. 3 days of games, 7 days of games, people killing each other. Give them blood and gore. Give them entertainment. Entertainment तो free है. 50,000 OTTs हैं. ठीक है. YouTube पे बैठ के अपना mind dump कर दो. Doom scroll करते रहो. And then along with this, you have artificial intelligence where you don't really have to really think, use your faculties or the gifts that you've been given to be able to make a difference and to be able to actually do things. Poetry लिखनी क्या है? AI पे आजकल लोग लिख रहे हैं. मूवी AI पे बन रही है. सब बना दो.
LinkedIn पे न्यूज़लेटर्स एंड जितने भी शेयर किया जाता है,
पता लगता है AI जनरेटेड कौन सा है और कौन सा ऑर्गेनिक कंटेंट है. People can make out. I can make out. I'm sure everybody can make out.
It's very easy. All the posts.
Very easy. जो सिंटैक्स है तुम्हारा, जो तुम्हारा हाइफिनेशन है, जो तुम्हारे इमोजी हैं, पता लगता है बॉस कि तुमने AI यूज. So exactly, you need hours to be able to come up with a comprehensive post, and now it is फटाक से डोपामिन रश तुम्हारा तुमने कर दिया. 1 घंटे के अंदर पोस्ट में 50 लाइक आ गए, हो गया.
So what people can do to save themselves from these problems?
Use AI be lazy where it is really required and the grunt work, don't do it. I'm not disputing that at all. However, do not underestimate the amount of brain rot, the amount of things that your creative or your logical thinking is degrading. So at the same time, I think you need to find a balance. Keep yourself creatively fit, keep your mind fit, read. The more you consume, the more your brain thinks, the more your brain can actually go into directions when you actually read is something that AI can never replace.
See, on the similar notes, when I talk with many people, they talk wrong English or whatever limited knowledge they have about English. It's not English, it's about any language. So I said, why don't you read and try to be a better person so that what you're talking about? They said, हाँ मोबाइल पे मैं रोज पढ़ता हूँ ना मैंने क्या पढ़ता है ये रील्स
क्या पढ़ता है
Reels.
रेडिट पर रील्स ठीक है तू रेडिट पे जाके 2-4 आर्टिकल भी पढ़ ले तो मैं मानू तूने पढ़ा या तू न्यूज पढ़ ले जाके तो मैं मानू कि देयर इज समथिंग दैट यू एक्चुअली utilized your brain for to be able to absorb the information that is relevant and something that you can do something with. See, Ravi, I don't know how important it is to be able to remember facts. I don't know how important it is. Okay. To be able to, I'm not saying memorize facts, but to be able to understand what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think you need to be able to read and you need to be able to absorb and you need to be able to keep doing this on and on again so that your brain is fit, यार. नहीं तो तुमने 2 prompt दे दिए, तुम्हारा काम हो गया. तो तुमको क्या लगता है? Are you, as we evolve as a society, are people going to pay you for putting 2 prompts? नहीं लोग बोलते हैं ना कि AI is already here, boss. AI future नहीं है, अभी पहुंच गया है.
Are we heading towards a future where humans are no longer in control as far as artificial intelligence is concerned?
Somebody will be in control, Ravi. That 1% ka will be in control. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. But the way I'm looking at it, the explosion is happening. So your frontline guys are here. As you go along, your SMEs may be here. Your management is here, senior management, CXO layer. It will impact everyone. Who is the most removed? Are the guys on top. The guys who are actually calling, making the calls, making sure that this. So is it happening? Of course, it's getting there. So nahi, but unko to first impact है.
Definitely.
Absolutely. I'm not saying something which you've not heard of before. का AI का जो head है वो बोलता है 18 महीने 2 साल के अंदर सारे white collar job I will be redundant. Isn't that a scary thought? Are you saying that it's all white collar, including lawyer, doctor?
Yes.
So for me, it is the scariest thought that I go to a doctor and that machine is telling me, I will treat you. Boss, please, I am still old school enough to say that don't touch me like that and don't give me information like that. I don't want it that way. I would rather have a mix combination of both. I am okay with that as well. So the way we are headed, I think somebody will be in control. Ravi, sure isn't probably is not you and me, but somebody who is the 1% of the 1% making these calls as to how much is it and what it is. However, if this is unchecked, we are headed to, it looks uncertain. Now people compare it with, अरे जब कंप्यूटर आया था सबने बोला था कि सबकी नौकरियां चली जाएंगी ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा भाई पर तुम्हारे लिए was it doing this level this extent of stuff?
I'll tell you the difference. When Google came, if we used to Google it, and even if we Google today, it gives you all the options, but it never tells you what is next I can do for you.
डीप डाइव करके एआई रिसर्च मोड में जाके अब तो गूगल भी वो करने लगा
एआई मोड में जाके वो सब कुछ बता अच्छा इसके बाद मेरे को क्या करना है क्या कर सकता हो ऑप्शन में चाहिए वो खुद ही ऑप्शन दे देगा आपको
सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैं मोटरसाइकिल सर्विस के लिए दे रहा था अपनी सेकंड सर्विस ठीक है तो मैंने ऐसे ही क्वाइट अवेयर कि क्या होता है क्या नहीं होता है मैंने ऐसे ही बोला कि मैं सेकंड सर्विस के लिए सेकंड फ्री सर्विस के लिए क्या क्या चीजें सजेस्ट कर सकूं और वो सब कर सकूं एआई गिव मी ऑप्शंस दैट आई डोंट थिंक अबाउट आल्सो के in this capacity of engine, you have certain vibrations. So the header nuts of your exhaust, go ahead and get that checked. So I would never get that in Google. No?
There's so many things.
Exactly.
So this AI technology, it's going to make us smarter or it would be more dependent?
I think some people smarter, some people absolutely dependent and some people totally redundant. You don't keep up, you don't use that. It will, but see, if you go down this rabbit hole, you think that some people will not be able to cope or catch up with it.
So for the next 10 years, DJ, if someone wants to be very relevant in this scenario, what should they do today?
So learn where the industries are going, whatever suits, whatever you're getting into. Learn where is this going. Understand the role. For example, artificial intelligence is going to, if you are in a position that you are, let's say, a subject matter expert as well, for your product and the workflows, and you can actually go ahead and use artificial intelligence to be able to enhance and streamline those workflows rather than being part of that workflow is where the future lies. So if you are part of that cohort which is actually helping manage this technology, develop the guardrails, manage the guardrails, and dictate what the workflow should look like, utilizing these new technologies and tools. That is where you want to be. Otherwise, you're part of the workflow. AI is happening to you. You are not doing AI.
Jay, behind the 20 plus years career, what role has your family played?
I'll give a whole lot of credit to my wife. Putting up with my shifts, for example. I had all these rotational shifts. I've done night shifts as well. My shift was West Coast, catering to West Coast
America.
clients. Yeah, US. And so she's taken it, ke ha, aisa hai. So she's supportive. She has been supportive. And with regards to that, I have not had to look too much towards the nitty-gritties of everyday stuff. My wife is able to manage that. All right. So even with the kids, as a matter of fact, Sarika is in a position to actually go ahead and take care of things. So make the home a home is something that she's been able to manage. So with this, I think otherwise it would have been a very different life. I firmly believe that because, and people may choose to disagree, but if you are married and if you're living together, and if you have a partner who is not supportive and is a drain on your energy, you will not be successful. You will not be successful. And it works both ways. So if your wife is working and you are this most unhelpful person who does not believe in your wife's ambition, and the wife does not believe in the husband's ambition, is pure unsupportive, both ways, husband, wife, you are going to have a very difficult time. It's going to be a drain on your energy. That's where I'm coming from on this
So
one.
I want to go back when we were talking about that one chance that you had taken in your life, personally
Yeah.
and professionally. So what was that? So you did propose to her, and
I did.
what happened after that? If you can.
After that, she said, I'll think about it. So I said, ये तो नहीं होने वाला.
So what people want to know, where did you meet her? If it is okay with you, it was like you were studying together.
I'll just give you some, that's
Which
all
is
right, without
not
getting
very
into too
personal.
much details. Yeah. So we were in the same college during the junior college in 12th mein. We were acquainted with each other.
That acquaintance was through a friend?
Yes. I saw her in college. She saw me in college. That's it.
Love at first sight for you?
Yeah, you could call it that. I was very attracted towards her. Attraction at first sight, I was too young to say, and I'm being very candid. Attraction, definitely, yes. Love, can't say. When she knows it, it's developed later over a period of time. It's attraction at first sight, yes. I will agree with that. We knew each other, but it was not that we had a relationship at that point. In fact, that happened much later in life.
That's nice. And it's good that since then you guys are been together and things are going really the way it is right now.
Yeah. Look, it's always been an up and down roller coaster.
Although
But
never straight, it's ups and downs. Someone told me life is like that machine in the hospital. As long as it is going up and down, the moment it goes straight, the patient is dead. I think life is like that. It's all about ups and downs. So how do you manage work-life balance, DJ?
Work-life balance, Ravi, being very honest, coming from the generation wherein I'll talk about myself. I never knew anything called work-life balance.
Same here.
2015-16 तक तो पता ही नहीं था ये वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस वे वो चीज होती है. काम करना है. You have to work. Now, I'm not saying that we were great or something. Maybe we were less exposed to these concepts. Let me put it that
less
way.
aware of it.
Less aware of these concepts of work-life balance. So for me, it was like, काम life है, ये work-life balance क्या चीज होती है? So you can accuse us or me of being more oriented towards rather than finding a balance. I never had a balance. All right. I don't call it a work-life balance. Work is work, life is life. Both happen simultaneously. There are days when you don't think about work. There are days when you will have to think about excessively about work and you'll spend a good amount of your time. So for me, there is no balance. ये तो भाई आपके ऊपर है कि तुमको you want to take your dog out for a walk. Go
This
ahead.
work pressure ever affected family life?
Yeah, a family life in the sense less time for the kids at times, less time for the wife, less time for other relationships. Yes, of course, it has because then you need to choose what you want to do. Whether you want to give your time to this or you want to give time to a relationship, you have to choose.
And how did your family help you during high stress?
High stress by adding more stress. So during high stress, I think there are times when I feel I have not been very communicative, that I am under a lot of stress. So for me, I think I should be more communicative that भाई बहुत ज़्यादा हो रहा है. Let's take a beat and let's just chill things down a little bit. And so that I should do more. But otherwise, supportive in the sense that if it's a late night or if it is something that I need to work, or even beyond that. If I need to see, but my wife being supportive in letting me go when I want to go. अब मैं मॉर्निंग निकल गया, ब्रेकफास्ट राइट के लिए गया, 4-5 घंटे घर पे नहीं हूँ, I'll be back by lunch, for example. But she's supportive. भाई चल ठीक है कर लो, मतलब ज्यादा मैं अड़ीबाजी नहीं करूंगी, ज्यादा तुमको बोलूंगी नहीं. I'm not saying I'm asking for permission, but for her to be okay with it also
Giving
is
your own
support.
space.
Yes, you need that. See, she's also evolved over a period of time to understand that, and I get it with her as well, right? Give it to her as well. So I'll leave that.
So do you consciously disconnect from work to spend time with family?
Yes.
And how do you do that?
Shut down your laptop, shut down your
Mhm.
Teams, your mobile apps, put it on do not disturb, focus mode पे डाल दो iPhone को,
Mhm.
or just be present for a little while with the family. Just be present. It could be a lunch, it could be you taking them out. Just be present. Vacation ले लो, छोटा मोटा vacation ले लो, कहीं बाहर चले जाओ. Take them to a new
Mhm.
place. Even if you're going to the mall, for example, just be in the present with them. Easier said than done.
Yeah. And what advice would you give to professionals struggling to balance career and family?
Career and family. Balance, एक तो भाई right partner को who is aligned to your vision of what you want, where you want to get. अब तेरे को promotion को उसके लिए extra चीजें you have to stand out and your partner is not aligned with your ambition at all. फिर तो क्या ही कर लो.
नहीं हो पाएगा.
नहीं हो पाएगा. फिर तो बेटर ऑफ है कि तू भाई शादी मत कर, या तो फिर तू करियर देख ले फिर शादी देख. बिकॉज देन इफ यू हैव अ पार्टनर व्हिच इज टोटली नॉन अलाइंड एंड इज टोटली नॉन सपोर्टिव, देन तो nothing will happen. But otherwise, to be able to balance things out with your partner, with your kids, is absolutely important. That hey, look, this is what I need to do for all of us, not just for me. And I promise you, I'll give you this time, or I'll take you out, or I'll come to your game, or I'll make it up to you. So some balance is required at both ends. And career be important. Without career, unless you have those things in place wherein you don't need to work, perhaps. You have a life of studied indulgence and studied leisure. Sure.
So you've been gym enthusiastic for a long period of time, DJ.
Yes.
So when did fitness
Yes.
become important in your life?
Around 1994, 95, I started working out.
Okay.
And my dad was also inclined towards
Due to
weight
his
training.
profession?
He was certified from Lucknow University in there was an American packed course that Lucknow University had at that time, which was a fitness related course. So he had done that along with his master's in art. So he was inclined towards it. So I think that I picked up. One of the things that he influenced, but I was also very influenced by professional wrestling.
Oh, okay. WWE.
WWF था उस समय.
yes.
90s में, early 90s में पहली बार मैंने योकोजुना और मिस्टर परफेक्ट को.
Okay.
This is
A big guy.
Yokozuna was billed as somebody from Japan, but he was from the Anoi family. He's Hawaiian, actually. He's a Samoan
Samoan.
dude.
Yeah.
Samoan dude.
Dwayne Johnson.
But he was playing a
like Dwayne Johnson.
gimmick of Yokozuna at that point of time. कर रहा था. Obviously, I learned about it later. I was a small child, so I got really fascinated. And then I saw Hulk Hogan, Ultimate
What's
Warrior.
your favorite wrestler entertainer?
Ultimate Warrior. I used to keep Ultimate Warrior का एक elite figure मैंने मंगवाया था, custom. I still have it in my house पे रखता हूँ. So Warrior was all-time favorite. Otherwise, over recent period of time, there are others as well. But if you ask me, Ultimate Warrior.
Nice.
Jim Helvig. He changed his name to Jim Warrior later.
So how do you stay consistent despite a busy schedule?
It is just who I am. It is part and parcel of my daily routine. So if it becomes part of you and part of your routine, it's who you are. So इसके लिए consistency is required. But there are also times when I have to skip it because of other commitments, because of health, because sometimes you just need to take a break as well. But you always need to go back, is my thing. आज miss कल तो जाना.
Does this makes you handle stress better?
I think so. Because if you're physically fit to a certain extent, I think you'll deal with pressure better. And if you're unwell, Ravi, अगर तबीयत ठीक नहीं रहती और छोटी सी चीज नहीं होती है, तो you tend to take more stress because you're unwell as well. If you're physically good and you're feeling great about yourself, I think that is helpful with regards to even life in general and work also.
That's right.
At the same time.
Being healthy is everything.
You also work out. I think you also know that difference that a fit body and a fit mind can make.
I do agree. And coming back to your bike riding passion.
Yes.
When did your passion for the bike riding start?
See, it's happened in phases. So as a small kid, I always had this thing for these heavy cruisers when I was a child growing up. I was never the guy who was fascinated with these sports bikes.
Okay. It was a mud
So like,
bikes, which
these were like, okay, these are fast bikes that go vroom very fast. Not interesting. But these heavy, ornate Harley Davidsons with a lot of chrome and big engines and these big guys, these big men in sleeveless shirts with all these tattoos on them and a little small helmet riding these big, monstrous, heavy duty cruisers. That is when I was drawn towards these big, solid bikes.
is it very personal to you?
Riding for me means freedom and brotherhood. I don't go with these big rider groups, so 40, 50, 100 riders. There is no brotherhood there. Do all these 40, 50 men and women or these 100 people that you're riding with. This is just a commercial biker group. Unpopular opinion, some people may get offended.
That's fine. That's fine.
And it's fine.
It's
Even I don't
totally
care.
your prerogative. They take offense on this. It's their choice.
I'm cool. See, Ricky Gervais, jo comedian, he hosts certain things. He said, I don't care. I'm in the same mode. I don't care. So these big commercial biker groups, those who hum Republic Day, right? We are going to Lonavala on Republic Day by clogging all the streets with your 200, 300 bikes. This is a show of selling you something. This is commerce. Okay. So for me, it is freedom and brotherhood. I ride with 4 or 5 people max. And I know each and every one of them inside out. And they know me inside out. मैं solo कहीं पे भी निकल जाता हूँ. For me, even going on a breakfast ride all alone and just being with myself, and I come up with such good LinkedIn posts, bro. I'm telling you, it's not even funny. With so many creative things, I just sit alone. I'll have my cup of coffee. I'll eat whatever I want to eat and just sit for a few hours and just ride for a few hours. So 4 or 5 hours. And जब तक बच्चे उठते हैं 9-10 तो बज ही जाते हैं तब तक मैं halfway through my entire process. And by the afternoon, by 12:30, I'm back for lunch, or 1 o'clock, I'm back for lunch. Even that for me is enough. It's therapeutic. And I don't use that word lightly. So for me to be able to do all these things, it is one nice space as well. What got me into biking is I was in awe of these big machines. Later, obviously, even during college. So my dad was dead against bikes. Absolutely over my dead body wala type ka dialogue se tu bike nahi kharidega. So my dad actually went to the US to, he was part of a documentary, Rise of the Phoenix करके documentary का नाम है. It is about indentured Indian laborers in Guyana. So he stayed in the US. He traveled to Guyana. RBC Radios करके production house था. And रोहित जगेसर करके बंदा था जिन्होंने he contacted my dad and they worked out on this project. So he owned that radio station in Jersey. And my dad actually collaborated with them. He stayed for a year in the US. And it was Jersey or Queens, I forget, where the radio station was based. I think it is still there. So after he went to the US, I convinced my mom to buy me a bike. Bajaj ki Caliber Chroma, which is something which was in my budget around the late 90s or thousands ki baat kar raha hu. 46,000 something. I got my bike, my first bike. Then over a period of time, there has been a long lull during which I did not take any motorcycles. But then lately, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, I said I've got to get back on, right? कैसा रहता था जब मैं बाइक ले बीवी बोलती थी अपग्रेड कर लो गाड़ी बड़ी ले. So from an Optra to a Honda City to a XUV, things happened. So then finally I came to a point where I said that I need to get myself a motorcycle. Then I went onto the Himalayan 411. And that's how it rekindled, can I say, thought process. I've never been a speed guy. मेरे को ये speed 100-200 किलोमीटर 200 किलोमीटर पे जाती है भाई मेरे को कोई interest नहीं है तुम्हारे speed. Good for you if this is what you are. And even in my group, the guys who ride, some of them are on interceptors and they do like great speeds. But I'm not saying sports bike level speeds, but unka speed is much higher than what I am comfortable.
So you're someone who wants to reach to the destination, but during that process, you want to enjoy the journey.
Exactly. I want to enjoy the ride, bhai. Mere ko dekhne do, let me see around. And I'm not saying I'll go very slow. 80, 100 is great for a heavy bike.
Which one is your most memorable ride or yet to come?
That was way back when I was coming from, and that was on my Caliber Chroma. I came from Ratnagiri to Mumbai in one stretch. And we rode like, it was nearly, I want to say 400 plus kilometers in one single day. And I got all very tired along the way, but it was fun because I had two of my friends with me. And one of them was on a TVS Fiero. उस समय गाड़ी आती थी TVS Fiero, and that was a more high end than what I was driving. I was riding a 110cc. And this guy was on a 150 or a 175cc or 200cc bike at that point of time. And we still managed to keep up, and he got off at Navi Mumbai and I went all the way to Mumbai to my house. And so it was memorable for me because it was my first big ride, and no gear except for a helmet and a jacket. No gloves, विंड चीटर था, नॉर्मल विंड चीटर, बारिश वाला, पैडिंग भी नहीं थी, बॉम्बर जैकेट भी नहीं था, हेलमेट, शूज, जीन्स एंड नो ग्लव्स, नो गियर, नो फैंसी गियर, नो नथिंग। एंड वी डोंट नो बेटर, मेरे को तो बेटर कुछ पता ही नहीं था ना उस समय कि गियर लेना चाहिए, ये होता है, वो होता है। आजकल तो मैं अभी तेरे को दिखाऊं तो मेरा जैकेट, मेरा एक प्रॉपर वार्डरोब है जिसके अंदर खाली राइडिंग गियर है, सिर्फ जैकेट्स, सिर्फ और सिर्फ helmets, gloves, and so on and so forth. So for me, that was very memorable because it was, I still remember it.
Family time or work deadline?
Family time,
Okay. Cybersecurity or convenience?
cybersecurity.
Artificial intelligence, it's an opportunity or a threat?
Opportunity.
Gym or bike ride?
Gym or bike ride? That's a really tough one. Both.
Okay. One word for your journey.
It's been informative.
Last question for you, DJ. If your family had to describe you in one sentence, what would they say?
In one sentence, all in one.
So all in one.
Man of many talents, they would say, I'm sure.
So jack of all
I'm sure
trades?
that is, so jack of all is what I think they will come up.
DJ, thank you for being this open with us today. If there is one thing to take away from today's conversation, it's this: success isn't built overnight. It's built through discipline, decision, and the ability to adapt. If this conversation made you think, reflect, or see things differently, make sure you share it with someone who needs it to hear it this today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Ravi Athale Perspective for more such powerful conversations. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep pushing your perspective.